Welcome to Coast to Coast. David, we're sad here in Los Angeles, and I feel really bad for this guy. That's Clayton Kershaw. We'll talk about it with Eduardo Perez. This is exciting. We got some surprising news for one very deserving high school student. We'll take you to Missouri. You'll love it.
All right, we're going to take you to Shanghai as well. They actually did get a game in. Let's dive into Coast to Coast.
We're going coast to coast. We're going coast to coast.
What's next for the Nets and Lakers after Game 1 in China? Plus an update on Kyrie's injury. Well, what Zion says is the biggest difference between playing at Duke and playing in the NBA. And the unlikely source behind Dak Prescott's turnover issues for Dallas.
Sports Center, coast to coast. It's where you come when you want the most. Every city, every state and time. Get ready, we about to break it down.
I want to have this job for a long time and just have fun with it.
Despite friction between the NBA and the Chinese government over Daryl Morey's comments supporting Hong Kong's anti-government protesters, the Lakers-Nets game in Shanghai went off as scheduled today. You see LeBron and Kyrie and Anthony Davis showing up. The fans who showed up were handed small Chinese flags to carry with them inside. LeBron and Kyrie getting ready. Now, Kyrie Irving broke a bone in his face in a pickup game in September. He was wearing a mask, takes a shot to the face, and you can see the pain that Kyrie is in. Just kind of took a shoulder from Rajon Rondo, would not return to action in this one. LeBron, who played just 55 games last season, picks out a three he likes and drills that. And then a little bit later, putting it on the floor and going to the left hand. So LeBron looking pretty good. He had 20 points in 25 minutes in this one. How about the new guy, Anthony Davis, spin move? And the finish right there on Taurean Prince. Later in the third, close game. Rondo finding LeBron. LeBron with a nice effort. Davis had 16. However, the Nets win the game 114 to 111. LeBron and AD make up two of the five longest active streaks of all-star selections, despite Davis being just 26 years old. For LeBron, last year was the first season that none of his teammates made the All-Star game since 2010, so he's back in familiar territory now, playing alongside Anthony Davis. Let's get it to Rachel Nichols with more from Shanghai.
Well, David, we had a basketball game here in Shanghai tonight, which normally would not be breaking news, but tonight sure felt like it was. When players woke up this morning, they still weren't sure how this was going to go. Even the arena was a question mark because so many sponsors had pulled out that workers were laboring overtime to scrape painted logos off the hardwood and then resand the floors in time for the game. Then there was the matter of the Chinese government. I'm told that Nets owner Joseph Tsai, the league's first Chinese majority owner, was instrumental in brokering the fragile peace that let this game happen. The Chinese did have some stipulations before they greenlight things, though. Chief among them was that no players do any public media availability and that Adam Silver cancel his planned press conference. The NBA agreed. The game went on, and players told me they were relieved to find a pretty warm reception from the Chinese fans. LeBron in particular drew cheers every time he touched the ball, and Brooklyn was impressive considering they lost star Kyrie Irving to a re-aggravation of the facial fracture he suffered prior to training camp. We'll have to keep an eye on how that affects him going forward. But for now, both the Nets and the Lakers are just happy to get out of Shanghai without further incident. The teams will now travel to the coastal city of Shenzhen for a game that's scheduled for Saturday. Now, Shenzhen is actually quite close to Hong Kong. It's just a car ride away. So it will be interesting to see how that impacts the next few days. David?
Thank you, Rachel. A little later on SportsCenter Coast to Coast, Zion putting up a practically perfect shooting effort in Chicago. We'll show you highlights of his second preseason game coming up.
All right, David. Winner take all. Game 5 NLDS. Nats at Dodgers. We're going to go at the top of the 8th. Dodgers lead 3-1. Kershaw back in on the mound. Rendon up. He hits the ball deep left. Yeah, and it's gone. Solo home run. Nats now trail 3-2. I think by now most of us know, but we got to give it to you again. Painful. Rendon is excited. He deserves to have that dance. Next pitch, Soto crushes the first pitch from Kershaw. Back-to-back home runs for the Nats. Kershaw has not allowed home runs on back-to-back pitches in the regular season in his career. Just the second time he's done this in the postseason career. Game tied at 3-all. Right now, He's sad, as is everyone in Southern California. We're going to the ninth. Will Smith up at bat. We're feeling hopeful because Will Smith, yeah, he does those things. Dodgers have never had a walk-off victory in a winner-take-all postseason game. And, well, here, ball deep right, but it's caught at the warning track. Take another look. Dodgers dugout is really, they're ready. We're almost ready.
Wow.
We're not ready.
I thought Will Smith just
This is a low light, but I'm going to give you the highlight. Top of the 10th inning, game tied at 3. Rendon up at bat, runner on first. Soto was walked intentionally, right? Kendrick, bases loaded. What happens?
tonight. Couldn't get anything early.
I'm going to move it a little fast here because we're really frustrated with what's going on. We got Kendrick at bat. He hits the ball deep to center field. And guess what happens? It's a grand slam. Nationals lead 7-3. Everyone's crying in studio right now as we do this highlight again. We're sad. We can't believe it. But of course, the Nats deserve it. It was special. No one can believe it. We're shocked. You'll see Dodger Stadium. You can see there's anybody there. They're leaving. Bottom of the 10th, Doolittle in for the close of the game for the Nats. Turner hits a ball to shallow center field. Taylor makes a diving catch for the third out, and it's a wrap. Nats would win 7-3. So what does this all mean? They knocked out a heavyweight. The Nats franchise second in LCS appearance in 51 seasons, and the first since they've moved from Montreal. Didn't look possible sitting at 19-31 in May, but they were able to get it done. But now the Nats have become the 7th team to reach at least the LCS when sitting at 12 or more games under 500 at some point in the season. However, only one of those previous 6 teams went on to win the World Series. Here's Clayton Kershaw on the disappointing loss.
Is this about as worse as you've ever felt?
Yeah, probably so. Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to hang my head. I'm going to be here. I'm going to continue to try to fight, continue to try to compete. I'm not going to shy away from it, continue to do it. Everything people say is true right now about the postseason. I understand that. Nothing I can do about it right now. It's a terrible feeling. It really is.
Do you feel responsibility for this loss?
Sure. I mean, if the blame falls on me, I've got no problem with it. You know, I feel that, you know, my job is to put guys in the best position to have success. And if it doesn't work out, there's always going to be second guessing. And I got no problem, you know, wearing the brunt of that. That's okay.
It's been over 30 years since the Dodgers, but I've said this even at the top of the show. I feel bad for Kershaw. How can you not when you watch that? So why do you think we see, and I'm asking you to look into the future, why do you think we see a different Kershaw in the postseason and he's not as dominant?
Well, he's not as dominant right now because you put him in a spot where I just thought he wasn't able to go out and succeed. And that's what you want to do. You want to be able to put a pitcher in a spot to succeed. Right here, he put him in a great spot. Adam Eaton strikes him out. You see him celebrating there? When he celebrates in that instance, I'm like, okay, as a manager, as a field general, you have to know that your pitcher is done. After that, what happens is I would have brought in this circumstance, you come in with Kenta Maeda. You face Anthony Rendon. If he gets him out, then you let him face Juan Soto. The game would have been 3-1. If Soto takes you deep, so be it. If Rendon, he loses him, in that instance, that's where you come in and you go to the left-handed Kalanick. They did not do that. They left Clayton Kershaw in. I thought they left him in 1 inning too long. He should have been just for a third of an inning. If he would have been able to do that, Clayton Kershaw and the LA Dodgers could be facing the St. Louis Cardinals instead of going back home in a long offseason.
Dave Roberts said everyone's going to second guess him, but what about this as a player, as a former player, look, recovering mentally. How does he move on from this?
Oh, you recover quickly. This is the offseason. This is what you do. You're a professional player. You go out there, you go about your business, you turn the page, you get ready for next season. You have to, and you fuel it to make you better the next year.
All right, you say that. We shall see, won't we? Meanwhile, the Nats are moving on, as we talked about. They've got a showdown with the Cards in the NLCS, so we're going to do a flashback. You're right there with me. This is the previous postseason meeting between these two teams. Now, this one, obviously, for the books, take a look. It was 2012 NLDS. Jason Worth hit a walk-off home run in Game 4 to tie the series at 2 apiece, and then Washington had a 2-run lead in the 9th of the Game 5 before Cardinals fought their way back. So as you can see, the game was tied with a 2-run single before Pete Kozma gave the Cardinals the lead with another 2-run base hit. St. Louis would go on to lose the NLCS in 7 games to the Giants. So we're going to talk about this in general. What will be the X factor, in your opinion, for this matchup?
I would say Patrick Corbin. Patrick Corbin, to me, has to go in and be that guy that they signed to be the number 3 guy. And they're going to need him big time. Strasburg will be going game 3. Patrick Corbin, most likely game 2, and Strasburg game 1. We'll see how that works out. But at the end of the day, he has to be able to use his slider at a high rate, throw it for strikes, and get the hitters to chase that pitch. A pitch that is really hard to pick up with the spin, a pitch that he didn't have a lot of control with and was sometimes was very unstable with it. If he's able to throw that pitch well, it'll make his fastball work better and keep the pressure away from the guys in the bullpen that so far Dave Martinez has really gone in and relied on heavily.
Eduardo Perez, thank you so much. You're a genius. Have people told you that before or no? Just me?
All I know is one thing.
Okay, that's
Be
it.
calm. Be calm.
Be calm.
It'll be okay in L.A.
It'll be okay in LA.
It'll be okay.
David, I'll send it to you.
Might not be okay in Philly. The Phils' disappointing season has spelled the end of Gabe Kapler's 2-year run with the team. He was fired today. For the 2nd straight season, the Phillies faded down the stretch, and despite spending big on Bryce Harper, the team finished at .500 on the year. Certainly not what they wanted. The manager taking the fall today. Phillies tried to put Kapler in a good spot. They spent money, shelled out $401 million in free agency. Philadelphia, the 3rd team in baseball history to commit at least $400 million to free agents in a single offseason. Of course, the majority of that went to Bryce Harper. It didn't work. We're going to talk to Tim Kirchin later on who might be in line to be the Phillies' next manager. Well, the 2nd stop on the Zion preseason tour was in Chicago. I'd say his game is translating pretty well to the NBA. A dominant performance at United Center. We'll have highlights. Plus, look at this. Making sure a spot in SportsCenter's top plays is never forgotten. We're live ahead of a big surprise.